Women need their own retirement plan, even if they have a joint plan with their spouse. And yet, most conventional financial planning process completely ignores this reality. In over 7 years in business, I've run plenty of financial plans, and I can see it every day. The retirement projections are made for two spouses, and there is a blip in the amount of income and expenses when one spouse passes away, and it looks like when one spouse passes away, nothing really changes. But in reality, when your spouse passes away and you face a retirement on your own, everything changes. And yet the conventional retirement process completely ignores this picture. So let's start with the reason as to why you need your own retirement plan as a woman. First and foremost, women live longer. By an average, by a decade, we outlive our spouses. And in the modern world where our lifespans are extending, it could be that you could be living well into your 80s and 90s on your own. So living longer is one factor, one reason why you need your own financial plan. The second reason is the fact that women live on leftover assets. In a traditional planning, you plan for two spouses, what is the income, and then one spouse passes away, then that's what you're left over with, and that's how you will go on living on these leftover assets. So whatever income you get, which typically is reduced, that's what you're getting, which completely ignores your needs in retirement and your realities and your increased costs. The third reason why you need your own retirement plan is typically throughout life, we women and typically couples make plenty of wrong financial choices. And these choices and these financial decisions accumulate to a fact where by the time you get to retirement, especially when you get to your solo retirement, you could be in a big financial hole. So the sooner you start planning for yourself, the better off you'll be to rectify those financial mistakes and bad decisions that you've made over time. Another reason is that the investment decisions typically are not made with the women's needs in mind. In a typical household, American household, which is changing but still may be true in your case, the investment decisions are left to men or to investment advisors who may not have the women's best needs in their priority, not because they don't want to, but simply because they don't know how. So when the financial decisions, investment decisions are made, it's typically based on a return assumption, some kind of a hot stock, a hot commodity, hot pick that you want to put in your portfolio to grow it at a crazy, incredible return, and then make those big financial gains and increase your wealth that way, versus focusing on steady, consistent returns that will meet your needs over time. Another reason that you need your own retirement plan and very specific instructions as to what you need to want to happen in your retirement is that when you're alone in this solo longevity phase, your kids become your support and they become also somewhat responsible for you. And as women, we are not good at voicing our needs. So it may be that there are decisions made for you and on your behalf that may not be in your best interest or may not be according to your wishes, and yet without a solid plan that would account for all of those choices and for all of those decisions, you don't have a mechanism, you don't have a way to voice your concerns and to advocate for yourself. So these are 5 main reasons why you need a retirement plan. You live longer. There are many financial decisions and financial mistakes that have been made during your life that may be affecting you disproportionately at this most vulnerable age in your life. We rely on leftover assets, and there are investment decisions that are made that may not be in our best interest, and kids don't always know what is best for us. So with that said, what should be in your own retirement plan? The first and foremost thing that you need to work through is your income sources. what are you going to live on in the solo retirement phase? How much income you will have? Where will this income come from? Where will you have this income accumulate, and how you will draw on your income to make sure that you have everything that you need to live a comfortable lifestyle. And the second thing that needs to be in your retirement plan is your insurance, is your protection. And insurance coverage for women in retirement can come in different ways. The first way it can protect you is a simple life insurance plan that will pay out a death benefit. It will be owned by your spouse, and then you'll get the death benefit upon his passing. A lot of times insurance is viewed as something that only younger families need, but it can be a very powerful planning tool for women later in retirement. For many reasons, it's a lump sum that you can count on. It has tax benefits. If your spouse has been in long-term care, assisted living, and you've depleted those assets, it will give a boost to your income. And speaking of long-term care, that's another thing that you need to think of very carefully. If you end up in assisted living, what will be the source of money to make sure that you are covered and protected? One very important thing that needs to be in your retirement plan is thinking through how you will preserve your independence if you wish so. After your spouse passes, and if you haven't made very careful housing decisions, you may be in an environment that is not suitable for you anymore, and there may be an emergency to move you out of the place where you're comfortable, that you love to live in, where you have your community, where you have your support, where are your friends. And if you wish to remain independent, but it's not possible to do so, it may cause a lot of stress and anxiety and emotional distress that you may not need at this point in your life. So you want to have preserving and independence is one of the things that you look out for, and you make sure you address in your own retirement plan. Another very important aspect is your social and emotional well-being. Our social life is greatly reduced in retirement and as we get older, exactly at the time when we need those friends more than ever. And there are many reasons for it. Our friends go through the same challenges that we do. They lose spouses, they lose their health, they lose their hearing, they lose their financial independence. So they may not be able to come out and see you or for you to see them. So the easier you make it on yourself and for yourself to have friends around you, whether it's moving to a different state, to a different community, to a different environment, there are plenty of opportunities to meet with friends, the better off you will be. So that's something else that needs to be carefully planned in your retirement plan. Another factor is, what do you want to do with money? If you are fortunate enough, you've had a business, you've had a successful career, you have money, and you have a big portfolio, and now you're thinking about, okay, how do I want my money to serve this world? Is it that I want to just focus on my kids? Or is there a cause that is important to me that I want to leave money to charity or start a nonprofit or create a donor advised fund, some kind of a vehicle where you control the distribution of your wealth? That needs to also be carefully planned. There may be many conversations that you need to have with your spouse, with your advisor, with your giving advisor to make sure that your money is spent the way that you want it, and you're not taking directions or instructions from people who don't agree with you, or you're not even comfortable sharing what's your mind, thinking that, well, maybe that's not the right thing to do, I should leave more for my family, whatever the factors could be that you haven't yet addressed. So make sure that your plan meets you happy and meets your priorities. So there is a lot to plan for women, and it's best not to leave this planning as a last minute. So what I recommend is that you start planning for yourself at least 10 to 15 years before you're ready to retire. You should work with a professional who understands your needs, who understands those factors, understands what is it that your plan needs, so that you have the time and the opportunity to make a careful careful plan, identify your goals, your vision, your values, your priorities, document them, make sure that you can fund them, make sure that you buy the right financial products, have the right people in place, have the right team in place that will help you create that retirement plan and execute it and have everything ready when you really need it. I don't know a woman who is not concerned about being a burden or becoming the proverbial bag lady. It's ironic because throughout our lives, we take care of everyone. We take care of our kids, we take care of our families, we do everything for them. But when it's time for us to take that care and it's the time for us to have help, we're very reluctant to ask for it, we're very reluctant to receive it, and we want to avoid being in other people's weight, so to speak. So having a solid retirement plan for you will give you that confidence and the comfort that you have taken care of yourself and nobody will have to make tough decisions on your behalf. Again, it's very important to understand what should be in your plan, what are the strategies that you need to put in place, and how you go about the process of designing your retirement plan. So next month, I'm running a webinar dedicated specifically to successful women and especially successful entrepreneurs should be planning for their retirement and how they should be creating their second retirement plan. Look in the description and the comments below and sign up for the webinar.